Hi, and welcome to today's first episode of the Krisullis Podcast. I know that I've been away for the last several months, and honestly, I have been busy. It's been a really challenging time during the pandemic, but it's been totally worth the step away from social media. And today, I want to welcome you into a conversation around what it means for all of us, no matter which country we're in right now, to have experienced the pandemic. And this has been a really, really hard time as it relates to not just COVID, but the impact and the effects of COVID. And so the Chrysalis podcast has been created and it's born out of the Chrysalis platform that we have launched, and I'm very excited because I believe that there is a lot that we are taking away from this time. So, before we get started, I want to thank you for making the time for watching this podcast. It's the first of many to come. And I want to begin by inviting you to think about the question, what happens if we have another pandemic? Now, I'm not asking you this question to frighten you or scare you, but really inviting you to think about how this current pandemic has impacted us, our lives, our health. Many of us have lost loved ones during this time, and I send you so much peace and so much love during this time with all the loss that you and I have experienced. Many of us have lost jobs, our businesses have been impacted. And if you look at what's happening economically across the world, it is not been a pretty picture. And moving on, why I want to start this podcast is really about the platform of Chrysalis and what Chrysalis is about. So, Chrysalis is the environment where the caterpillar emerges into a butterfly. And it's really important for the caterpillar to have this environment, this cocoon, where there are many changes physically, physiologically. And it's a very hard and challenging time for the caterpillar, but it's also an important and necessary step for the caterpillar to transform into a butterfly. And I believe that this is a very, very powerful analogy for all of us because through many of the challenges, the adversity, the hard time that this pandemic is presenting as an environment, we can still start to level up through this moment in time wherever we are. So Chrysalis is a platform that we have started and we have launched primarily to speak into some of the challenges that we are experiencing individually within, our own country as well as collectively, no matter where we come from. And I want to start off by talking about in this episode, while I will be covering a lot of things around the impact that the pandemic has caused, today is about two countries that I want to start with. That's the USA and India. And while I am currently in India in a city called Bangalore, that's not really the reason why I've picked India. If you look at LinkedIn as a platform, which is technically the largest platform for professionals because their mission is all about providing jobs, you will start to notice that the largest member subscriptions come from these two countries. That's USA and India. And that's the reason I want to talk about these two countries as it relates to understanding what has happened with the job scene, with the job market in the USA and in India. How has it impacted people who used to have jobs, currently have jobs? What does this mean in the future? And what if there's another pandemic? How is it going to impact us? So if you are a job seeker, but also if you run a business, this this set and series of videos might just be for you. So allow me to share with you this bit of information around the pandemic. So I'm going to start with the USA. It's very interesting. There's this article covered by USA Today that you can check. It's fairly recent. They talk about the kind of impact as it relates to employment numbers. And while there has been a slight upward trend, um, behind what happened last year, because we had so what they're mentioning over here is that the economy is still millions of jobs short of where it was in February of 2020, but more than 14.1 million jobs have returned since April 2020 low. And if you were to look closer at, I have a plane flying overhead. Um, so if you were to look a little closer at what this means, and we're not going to be delving really into the stock markets because they have spoken about the impact on the stock markets, but the focus is really around you as an employee. If you've been someone who has been in a job and who has lost your job, or someone who's an employer, you're a business owner and you've had people and you've had to let people go. These are some of the statistics that show the largest number of job losses since 2020 have been in the sectors of leisure, hospitality, retail. They speak specifically about food services and drinking places. And while there are other segments and sectors that have been impacted, like loading and stocking, construction, pharma, and it whittles down all the way down to education and instruction, beauty and wellness, hospitality and tourism and sports. There are still states that are struggling through the current pandemic, even though the US has shown signs of picking up, not just economically, but also as it relates to response to the vaccines right now. And so in the US, and this is as of Feb 1st, 2021, they have given a graph of how things have improved as it relates to the number of jobs that have been posted, where employers have been asking for people because they want to hire people. So these are the states: Idaho, Montana, Maine, South Dakota, Mississippi, Arizona, Georgia, also New York, Washington, Maryland, Massachusetts, Colorado, Virginia. So these are some of the places that are still posting and looking out to hire people. But what's also interesting about this is that there seems to be unemployment, which is very evident as it relates to race as well. So when we look at a breakdown into the current unemployment rates, the highest have been in the segment of Black, Hispanic, they've just said US overall, and then Asian and white. And so depending on, the kind of segment out in the USA, this seems to signal that it's not likely to be a quick finish line as it relates to finding jobs or even businesses opening up space to hire. And so this is, an overview of the USA piece. I want to move on to India right now. So with India, it's been quite interesting because one thing that is certain is that right now, because India is divided into rural India and urban India, and the population is actually largest in rural India, which amounts to about 80% of our population, which amounts to about 80% of our population. And so, according to this report by the Indian Express, it says that the GDP has grown only about 4% over 2019 and 2020, but it fell by 8% over 2020 and 2021. And how does this impact job seekers right now? The loss of jobs means there's a loss of income. And because of this, there is a lot of struggle around paying rents, paying loans. There are a lot more people who have taken loans larger than their relative earnings. This study was revealed by the Azim Premji University that says that households coped with the shock by borrowing and selling assets and cutting back on basic things like food. And another survey, also done by the university, showed that poorer households took larger loans relative to their earnings. And as recent as last month, which was May 2021, the university has also reported that an additional 23 crore people had been pushed below the poverty threshold, which is 373 rupees per day. That amounts to about under $5 per day. And this has completely reversed the number of 27 crore people who were lifted out of poverty between 2005 and 2015. This is shocking. I'm going to stop sharing right now. Uh, this is shocking because if one pandemic could have such a severe impact on jobs, but also about the very basic things for us to live and sustain, what happens if there is another situation of uncertainty? Are we ready? Are we equipped? The short answer to that is no. As unfortunate as it might seem, there is a way forward. There are a lot of businesses, there are a lot of people who have managed to tide over during this time. And why I'm starting this series is as an extension to what we are offering in the platform of Chrysalis. So, Chrysalis has been born out of the realization that the number of jobs that are available versus the number of people seeking jobs might just be a gap, and one that needs to be noticed because as it relates to a growing number of people who have loans, who need to pay bills, all of us do. What's the next step forward? So, some of the things that we will be dealing with within Chrysalis are not just about helping you match with people who are looking out to hire if you're a job seeker. So, especially for you, if you're out of a job, looking to get hired, but some of the other things are to help you and empower you to up level so that you understand with the current situation, we know that many businesses are moving into digitizing a lot of their work. So what's going to happen to you if you have not up leveled? What's going to happen to you if you have not taken the time to develop skills that help you move with a market that is evolving? And so, while the job seeking market is something that I've covered today, there are many, many other aspects around how you can transition into starting your own business, why it's necessary to think about entrepreneurship as a very powerful option that can help you during times of uncertainty, and what are some of the foundational pieces that you need to equip yourself with, not just in terms of the right courses, the right skills, for the right network cross culturally to help open your mind up to different possibilities beyond the region, beyond the country that you're sitting in. So, all these are things that I'm very excited and very grateful to be developing within the space of Chrysalis. We want to help you find jobs, but we want to help you do it through the lens of understanding who you are, what your strengths are. Do you need to look at something else apart from what was your role? Primarily because markets are changing, markets evolving, and businesses are starting to get a whole lot smarter as it relates to technology. So, my question to you is, do you want in? Do you want to be able to move with this flow so that you can be ahead of the curve? You can have and equip yourself with the right skills, not just around technical skills, but also essential skills. And these are some of the things that we are going to continue to cover in this podcast by myself as well as with guests. to also let you know about a whole lot of the value that we are providing within the space of Chrysalis. Be sure to check out our demo site. It's called www.krisullis.com. I will be mentioning it here at the bottom for you to check out. And if you find this content relevant for you, especially during these changing and volatile times, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and drop me a line. I'd be happy to know what kind of topics around the pandemic are important for you, and I would be happy to cover more around that. So, thank you so much for watching today's podcast. I really hope, sincerely hope, that you found some value around exposing so much that's happening outside our little world, but also understanding the direction that we can co create in order to find success and fulfillment in such uncertain times. I wish you life's best, and I look forward to seeing you really, really soon. Bye bye.